Hello and welcome back to Salsas and More. Today we're going to prepare a delicious pickled vegetable medley that you're going to love. This is a side dish that we enjoy when we travel to Monterey. These pickled vegetables can be served as a garnish for burgers or hot dogs, or you can eat them as a snack or a side dish with your favorite grilled foods as well. Now, to make sure we had the freshest taste for our vegetable medley, we went to our garden and picked some really nice jalapenos. And then we also added a few banana peppers for some color and some extra flavor. And then we headed into the kitchen. Now, since we're not storing the finished jars for a long time, we decided to reuse some glass jars and lids that we got from Costco. We made sure to thoroughly wash and sterilize the jars and lids, but these will not go through a complete canning process. If you want to can and store these long term, please use the proper preservation techniques and jars. Here you can see we're placing the jars in hot water and bringing that to a boil for about 10 to 12 minutes just to sterilize. You could also use your dishwasher if it has a sterilized setting. We used the jar lifter from our canning pot to keep the jars off of the bottom of the pot itself. For the pickling brine, we'll need the following ingredients: 4 cloves, 1 tablespoon of oregano, 3 to 4 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of peppercorn, 1 tablespoon of rosemary and coriander, 1 dried chipotle, and 2 tablespoons of salt. Now, the chipotle is optional. We used it for extra flavor. For the actual brine itself, in a sauce pot, combine equal parts of water and vinegar, enough to cover your vegetables and fill the jars. We started with 3 cups of each, but had to add a little bit more later. And then once we have the liquid combined in the sauce pot, we'll add all of our dry ingredients and simmer this for about 10 to 15 minutes. We're also going to prepare a second pot and boil the new potatoes that we're going to use in the medley. And we're going to cook those until they're fork tender. We don't want them all the way done, because when we put them in the brine, they'll actually disintegrate. So you want them just slightly underdone. So now that the brine is simmered for about 10 to 15 minutes, you can see it's changed colors a little bit. It's absorbed some of the flavors of the spices. We're going to reduce the heat to low and keep it warm for later. Now it's time to prepare the vegetables for the medley. You can use a variety of your favorite vegetables. We selected some of our favorites that will preserve well in the brine. You can see we've got cucumbers, cauliflower, carrots, zucchini, some sweet banana peppers. We also added in some jicama root that takes on a great flavor once you put it in the vinegar brine. You can cut them into strips or into rounds, whatever your preference is. For the green onions, we leave them whole. For the carrots, we cut these into angled rounds. Just whatever your preference is. For the cauliflower, we cut them into smaller chunks to make them easier to eat. sliced and diced some mushrooms to add in a little bit of different texture to the medley. So with the chili peppers, when you're cutting the peppers up, you can remove the seeds and the inside of the pepper if you want to reduce the heat a little bit. We like spicy, so we left most of the seeds in. It gave it a really nice flavor. And for a last bit of treat, we added jicama root. Jicama is a root vegetable. It doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it does absorb the spice and the vinegar brine nicely. So just a little bit of extra crunch to go along with the vegetable medley. You can see we're cutting them into cubed strips, similar to what we did with the zucchini. Now that the jars have sterilized, we can remove them from the hot water and set them off to the side. Be very careful because this water is hot and you can burn yourself very easily. Then we need to strain the spices from the brine. You can see we have about 6 cups of prepared brine after everything was boiled in. And then for a little extra kick, we thought it would be fun to add a couple of habaneros. You can see we're cutting slits in the sides of the peppers so that the liquid can completely absorb into the pepper. Here are the ingredients that we're using today. You saw us cutting them earlier. We have carrot, zucchini, cauliflower, peppers, jicama, new potatoes, cucumber, some garlic heads, mushrooms, and then we're going to start filling the jars. And this is a simple, easy process that doesn't need to follow a plan or a recipe. You can use what you want and pack the jars as, you know, with as much vegetable or as much variety of vegetables as you'd like. We add a head of garlic to each jar for a little bit of extra flavor, and then it's just a matter of packing the vegetables in and getting them in as tight as you can so the jar is full. I tried to layer the ingredients by size or color, but you can do it however you like. Just make sure you get the jar full to within a ½ inch of the top. And here's the 2 filled jars. Man, they look delicious, don't they? For an added touch of flavor, we put in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Keep in mind, when you refrigerate this, the oil will congeal and will harden up a little bit. Doesn't change the flavor, but this step is optional. We just like adding in that little bit of olive oil. And then we add in 1 dried chipotle pepper just for an extra kick of flavor. Then the last step is to fill the jars with brine, leaving about a 1/2 inch of headspace at the top of the jar. We'll cover them tightly with their original lids, and then after the jars have cooled, they should go immediately into the refrigerator so that they can pickle for a week, and then it's time to enjoy. So as you can see, these jars make great additions to the menus for family barbecues, or you can even give them away as gifts. So ours have been in the fridge for a week, and now it's time to give them a little bit of a test. You can see the colors did change a little bit. We're going to try the jar that had the dried chipotle, and you can actually use this chipotle in a salsa now because it's rehydrated nicely. We're going to try a little bit of everything in the jar. There's some mushroom. We're going to pull out some of the beans and some of the carrots and a little bit of the cucumber. And we're also going to try the hot pepper on that baguette roll with some roasted chicken. Can't wait to try that jicama. There's some of the jicama right there. Ooh, and a nice big chunk of cauliflower. So our first bite was one of the mushrooms. It was really good. Mushrooms generally don't have a lot of flavor, so this one had a little spice to it, a little kick. Great sour, spicy flavor from the brine and the hot peppers. The carrot was crunchy, really had a nice snap to it. All the vegetables really tasted spectacular with the brine and the hot pepper and the spices that we added to it. So they all came together nicely in this medley. You can see a little bit spicy. I'm a wuss, I'll admit it. And to heck with it, let's just do the whole piece of cauliflower. That was a little spicy. And then the last test, we're going to have a sandwich with a little bit of roasted chicken and some of the pickled peppers. And surprisingly enough, the peppers, as part of a sandwich, weren't quite as spicy as I would have anticipated, but they were still delicious. So that's our spin on a pickled vegetable medley. I hope you liked the recipe, and I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, please subscribe and check out the rest of our videos on salsas and more. Thanks. Until the next time. Bye.